Aloha, and welcome to another session of A Better Day. I'm State Senator Slom, and I hope you'll join us for the next half hour because we promise you an informative and interesting program. I've got two really special guests that are going to talk about a topic that is important to all of us here in Hawaii. But first of all, oh man, the election campaign finally almost over, right? Did you vote yet? Did you vote by absentee? Well, you got till November 8th to vote. Make sure you do. I know that a lot of people are upset this year. They don't like this candidate or that candidate, or they may be confused. And remember, you've got 2 state constitutional convention proposals, you've got 20 city charter proposals, and then you've got a whole raft of candidates. So even if there's somebody that you don't like or an issue you're not happy with, make sure you vote. Look, hey, we made it easier for you to vote, to register to vote every 2 years. 10 minutes, come on, that's part of your citizenship. It's part of your responsibility. And if you don't vote, that means somebody else will, and they may take a position that may not be the best for you or your family. So make sure that you do that. You know, one of the issues that continually comes up and is now probably most important in almost every community, including East Honolulu, is the issue of homelessness. Years ago, we didn't have any identifiable homeless people, but now we have plenty in Aina, in Niu Valley, and Hawaii Kai. Part of that is because of the law, the so-called sit and lie law that was passed by the city council that was aimed at probably getting people off the streets of Waikiki. Well, they succeeded. They got them off Waikiki, and they came to other neighborhoods. But homelessness is a big problem. So far, the taxpayers have spent more than $200 million. That's right, $200 million of local funds trying to end the homeless problem. The problem is, it's getting bigger. It's not ending. We've attacked parts of it. But one of the things we have to realize is that homeless is actually different components. You've got military veterans that are homeless. You've got those with mental illness problems. You've got those with other physical problems. You have people that just don't want to follow any rules. They want to be homeless. You got those that do drugs. There's different concepts of what homeless is. And the problem is, while we've had the federal, state, and county governments working on this problem, people in the non-governmental area, the non-profits, will tell you that oftentimes there's too much bureaucracy. They haven't spoken to one another, and they don't speak to the non-profits like the Institute for Human Studies and all of that. They don't speak to them at the beginning and say, well, what do you think? Because you're on the front lines. Instead, government passes their own programs, and the feds got their program, states got their program, counties got theirs. We've got to have better coordination. We also have to enforce existing laws, and we have to change some of the zoning to make it easier. And finally, when you look at, for example, the statistics that say up to 1/3 of those that are homeless are Native Hawaiian or part Hawaiian, and then you hear from the State Department of Hawaiian Homeland saying, well, we haven't been able to place any of those folks on our lands because there's too much paperwork to do. You say, what? That's what government's all about. That's what government is supposed to do and solve those problems. So just remember, after you vote, we've got a new legislative session coming up in January. Hold your elected officials' feet to the fire. Get down here, take part in the legislature, go to your neighborhood board in your community and voice your opinion, because your opinion is important. And if you don't do it, maybe somebody else is either not going to do it or they're going to do something that maybe will not be the best for all of us. So get involved. And as always, if you need help with the legislature or the legislative process, you come to room 214. We'll be glad to help you. We don't care what district you're from or where you're from. If you need help getting around the maze of the state legislature, come and see us. We're glad to help you. And again, for those of you that are tuning in for the first time, we call this program A Better Day. Not a new day, not a new beginning, not another day, but a better day. Because as hard as you work, as many decisions as you're called upon to make and priorities and all that, you deserve a better day. The best days of Hawaii are still ahead, and even though we have problems and challenges now, if we work on it together, we can solve them. So that's my thoughts for the day. You let me know at any time. Give me a call. Give us your ideas, suggestions, criticisms, whatever. We're willing to sit down and talk with you or to listen to what you have to say. Now look, you've heard me enough times say that I really am empowered by what people in the community do on their own. How they take the bull by the horns, they take a problem and they work on it themselves. And there are so many people in our community that do that. Lots of times they never get any publicity, they're not looking for any. But it's nice to recognize them and the organizations that they're with and to try to give them a hand. Well, today I've got two wonderful gentlemen that I would like to introduce to you. And joining us today are Erick Kvick and Dr. William Modglin. And Bill and Erick, you guys are both with the Hawaii Kai Lions Club. Who's the treasurer? You got the money?
I got the money.
You got the money. And both of you, how long have you been involved with Hawaii Kai Lions?
Personally, about 4 years, and Bill has been in much longer.
Since 2002.
You guys, do you make the pancakes on Father's Day that I enjoy?
We make thousands of pancakes on Father's Day.
It's one of the greatest community efforts and all that. But Hawaii Kai Lions, you get involved in a number of different projects. But let me ask you about both of you. First of all, you're a painter, contractor?
Carpentry and painting.
Carpentry and painting, and you're a chiropractor.
That's right.
Have I told you about my back? Oh no. Anyway, but you're both involved, heavily involved in the work of Hawaii Kai Lions. And among the many projects, of course, they do the holiday parade every year. They're responsible for that and a lot of other things. But you guys identified something that many people in the community have talked about and we've been aware of for a number of years now, but we really haven't come to a solution. And that has to do with all the drownings or near drownings in our waters. And we've had some very recently, some high-profile cases, and there are a lot of different reasons for that. But you folks took it upon yourselves with the Lions and with another organization, I understand, from Kauai, to try to come up with a solution. So who's going to be the first to tell me about that? The Rescue Foundation.
Well, I'll start, I guess.
Okay.
And he'll fill in where I leave the blanks.
Okay.
I met Branch Lotspeech from the Rescue Tube Foundation after searching into ways to prevent the excessive amount of drownings on the east end of our island. I mean, it was on the news almost once a month, and lately it's been even more often.
Yes.
So I did some.
And it's a shame too, because you have tourists, you have older residents, and you got young residents too that are drowning. And it's, you know, we've had some public service announcements and we've had news coverage and all that, but it still seems to be a problem, and yet there hasn't really been an adequate solution. So what do you do?
Well, just asking questions, and I found about a program going in Kauai where to date now they have 220 rescue tubes, which we will show later, around the island, which is there for basically for Good Samaritans to help somebody in need. The idea behind them is that you can either throw it to someone or a good swimmer will swim out with them and assist the swimmer until rescue can get there. There's nothing happening on Oahu in that regard. So,
and that's where most of the problems are, right? We've got the population, we've got the scenic points, particularly as you mentioned in East Honolulu.
Right, and well, it's statewide. I mean, it's just something that's a little more difficult to get going on Oahu than Kauai.
Was this an idea that originated in Kauai, or were they replicating something that happened somewhere else?
The first one that I heard of, and I learned this through the foundation, is a guy named John Tyler. He put one up in a tree in Kauai in 2008 at a beach where there was a big current, and then the Kauai Rotary got involved in it. And they put a few up illegally just to see what happened, and through a long chain of events they finally got it approved in Kauai County.
I think we've got a picture of the rescue tube, which it stands, how tall is it?
Individually it's about 4'6" long.
And the idea is to put them where you don't have lifeguards or where you have unprotected areas?
Anywhere is fine. If there's a lifeguard and he's busy, it might be nice to have
you've got the guts of the thing itself. Can we take a look at it? You can describe it for us, the rescue tube.
You want to describe
what's it
Bill?
made out of?
It's foam. The inside of it is made out of foam. They actually are made in Chicago, Illinois. That's where they come
Not
from.
China?
Not China.
Oh,
China.
happy days. Okay.
But they're strong enough that it can easily hold up 2 full-grown adults. The tube can by itself. And so when you swim out to the other person with the tube, why, it can keep you up until the jet ski comes to get you or till other help arrives. But and it has directions you can see right on it that tell you exactly how to use it, so you don't have to guess. The first warning at the top says if you can't swim, don't go in the water with this device because it won't make you a better swimmer. Tells you to call 911, and then you just loop. This part right here contains a loop. You loop that over your back. The tube drags behind you. You swim out to the other person, and then both of you stay on it. Like it says, stay calm. And then if you can, swim across the current, and then rescue comes. And as long as you have a hold of this, you're not going to be able to drown because it will keep you afloat.
And for 2 people?
2 or 3.
Two or
Depends
3.
on the size of people.
Yeah. So all of these are standard? These are standard size?
Yep, this is exactly what they all look like.
And the interesting thing to me is, where did the financing come for these?
Well, this came from public donations.
So donations. You didn't come to the state government or to the city and county and ask for money?
No,
You raised the money yourself?
We raised the money. We need more money, but we need to get the program going more before we worry about getting more money. There's very strong support for this.
Boy, that's refreshing. I got to tell you, Eric, I mean, usually it's down in this big square building here. People want the money first, and then we'll figure out what we're going to, use it for, do the business plan. But you're doing it right. You've got the plan as to how it's going to be used, where deployed, and all that. So you said the first ones were up in a tree in Kauai?
Correct.
And what happened? What did you learn about land use and permission and permits and things like that?
Well, the Rescue Tube Foundation will tell you a very long tale of woes that you won't fit on this program, but they did a lot of interaction with the DLNR, Lifeguard Association, and they finally found a way to get it done in Kauai. It wasn't easy and a lot of ups and downs, but they're at a point where it's going now. Maui is now at the point where Kauai was about 4 years ago, and they're looking for different legal arrangements with the Maui County to be able to get it going there.
How many are we talking about? How many do you actually need?
Well, just for a basis, Kauai has 220 around the island, and I mean it's unlimited. I think Bill had an excellent idea that you could have them in the back of rent-a-cars. That every rent-a-car has one. That Hertz or whoever might think that that's a good promotional thing to have. Rent-a-car people are always at the beach.
Yeah.
Tourists are people who have problems, and you always know you have something there in case of emergency. So I don't think there's any such thing as too many. If you have 999 and somebody drowns where there isn't one,
So
then you wish you had 1,000.
You've raised the funds privately. Do you have an ongoing fundraising project?
I have sources and I have promises, but we don't want to ask for money until we know it's going to happen.
And then you're raising money also for the maintenance?
The Lions Club will,
Yeah.
our club will take care of a few, and then we're going to present it to the whole district of Lions and see if we can get other clubs involved for the maintenance.
Yeah. I guess, have we all given up on the idea of either scaring people or telling them don't go in this area, particularly if you're not an experienced swimmer? Or are we saying, okay, they're going to go in, so if they get into trouble, that's where our point of rescue or help is going to be?
The drownings that happen are not just because it's not just tourists that's drowned. Actually, on Oahu, it's a little bit more tourists than it is residents, but on the other islands, it's more residents than it is tourists that are actually involved in the drownings by percentage. And it's 3 groups that get in trouble. It's snorkelers, swimmers, and people that are accidentally immersed in the water. They get swept off of rocks or off of walls, because of high waves or something like that. And so in those cases, if the rescue tube's around, it would make a big difference. And if it's not, why, those situations are all emergency situations. It's not something that you expect to come. So,
Do you think that these incidences of drownings and all that, are they greater now than, say, 10 years ago or 20 years ago? about the same.
In looking at the charts, it's very irregular. There's no pattern or rhyme or reason, I don't
Yeah,
think.
some years it's as low as 19, and other years it goes as high as 60.
Yeah.
But what we do know is from 2005 to 2014, there were 273 drownings just on Oahu. And of those, 164 of the drownings were on what they considered to be the east end of the island, which when they did their study was from Honolulu around to Kailua. So that's a lot of folks.
Yeah, there's a lot of folks, and you know, we encourage people to get outdoors. Our water areas are, you know, part of our greatest resources and all that, and we do spend a lot of time and effort trying to tell people to be safe, to watch the signage, not to go beyond fences or areas that are, you know, roped off, but still they do that. So, are there any other methods that are being used right now other than these rescue tubes? Anything else? So that's why you...
Lifeguards,
Yeah, and the lifeguards.
And that's always the number one resource. Every study that the city and county and the state have done, the lifeguards are always the number one thing.
And you agree with that?
Absolutely.
sure.
But
Yeah.
the truth is, you know, there are only so many lifeguards on Oahu, and they can't be everywhere. And, you know, it's not feasible to put them everywhere either.
Yeah.
And some of the drownings, you know, the percentage of people that drown increases as you get further away from a lifeguard station. So in places like those, this is a silent sentinel. It can always be there.
Okay, I got to ask you the question. Suppose you have that on a beach or a stretch where there's no lifeguards or anything else. What happens if it gets stolen? And is there a possibility that it would be stolen?
Of course.
So what do you do about it?
It will. I mean, we look at it, initially it's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
Kids are going to take them. And it's probably the same way it happened when fire extinguishers first came out. People thought it was a good toy you could go play with until you realize it's going to put out a fire. What we're going to do now, we have 10 tubes. Since we can't deploy them on beaches yet, we're going to start showing them at high schools with a sign explaining what it is. Here's how it works. Get the kids and the public to understand that it's not a toy, that you're really messing with somebody's life if you mess with it. So it's going to take time. There's going to be stolen, there's going to be lost. It comes with the territory.
You said you're going to the schools, you're making presentations.
We're just putting that together now.
You're going to be working with other community groups, other organizations?
As this is growing, we're reaching out to, we're going to go to some community events, and also Rotary and Lions Club.
And neighborhood board meetings too.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good idea. You mentioned that the folks on Kauai had a long and detailed problem with putting them on the beaches. What does that involve? Is that jurisdictional disputes or land use, or what? What prevents you from doing that?
Well, you can't just walk up and do it. That's the unfortunate part. And there's so many different things involved. Like we were discussing China Wall not too long ago, and
Yeah.
you start off on a road. You know, if you walk down there, you start off on a city and county road. You walk through some private property to get there. Then when you get down by the shoreline, then it's DLNR, I guess. So you go through all these different areas of control by different people.
Yeah.
So it's connecting the dots on all that is very difficult. That's the part that we're not in that line of work. We're in the position of putting it out there, showing the need for them, and we trust the bureaucracy end of this.
Oh, that could be a big mistake, Eric.
Find a way to put it together.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and the fact that you're going out into the community, you'll get input from the community, and they'll talk about things, because that big L word always comes up, liability. Suppose, for example, there's official sanctioning by DLNR, by the city government or the state government for use of these, and for some reason somebody relies on the rescue tube and they don't get rescued. That puts somebody in the possibility of being sued, you know, for, you know, the liability issue. So that would probably come up at some of your meetings. I presume that you're meeting with people at the governmental level for the lifeguards, emergency personnel, and people like that.
We're just in the beginning phases
Yeah.
of that.
Yeah.
But I like to look at it as a reverse form of liability. The more people know about it, and they don't have a rescue tube there, is there some liability there?
Yeah.
That here's a dangerous spot, a lot of people have drowned, and yet the city or state doesn't provide anything to help them. So,
Well, I've gone to enough hearings where, you know, people have said, well, you need more signage. Okay, put the signage up. Well, the signage is not enough. Even if they read the signage and they don't obey the signage or whatever. The part of the problem is that people see the governments, whether it's the county governments or the state government, as deep pockets, that you can sue them, and the very least you'll probably get a settlement because it's more expensive to take an issue like this to trial or to court and go all the way through, so people pay off. And unfortunately, there's some people in our community that see that as an income stream for them. So have you come across any other problems that you know about, or any other things that would affect either future design or future placement of the rescue tubes?
no problem.
It's pretty simple, huh?
It's
simple and direct.
if I had a dime for every time and someone said this is a no-brainer,
Yeah.
and
That's what everyone says when we describe it to them.
Yeah.
And you know, on Kauai, where they've got 240 tubes out there, 100 times already they've been credited with, you know, being the difference between the person living and not.
Is that right?
That's 100 confirmed.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of folks.
Yeah. So it shows that it works.
It works.
And that there's a need for it. And as I had asked earlier, if either of you knew of any other things that were being done or any other programs other than people being warned, don't go here, don't go there, which doesn't seem to be too effective. So this is a major project of Hawaii Kai Lions.
Hawaii Kai Lions, but we hope it's going to spread to, you know, beyond Hawaii
You want
Kai
to put in
Lions.
a plug for Hawaii Kai Lions? I mean, what if they want to contact you or somebody wants to get involved with this or others? How do they do it?
Bill's a past president, so he probably has more memorized.
Bill, how can they get involved, or what should they do to contact Hawaii Kai Lions?
Well, as far as this project goes, Rick is the person to contact because he's the chairman of this project. But the Lions Club itself, we do have some big projects that are going on right now too. Right now, because school has started up again while we're in the process of vision screening. So all the preschoolers are getting their vision screenings. That's a statewide project. That's not just on Oahu, that's at Lions everywhere. And also for us personally, our winter parade is coming up. The Saturday after Thanksgiving, we'll be doing that again. So all the folks of Hawaii Kai will line Luna
Are you
home
still
road.
involved with the Toys for Tots campaign?
Oh yes, we collect them
parade?
every year. We collect Toys for Tots at the parade.
Yeah.
And then usually the Marines come and we pass those off to them. And they make the connection
Will
for
Santa
us.
be there this year?
Santa always comes.
He's always there? Okay, that's good. And what are some of the other projects? Are you involved in the schools and educational projects?
Well, right now, in our end, we have the 3 elementary schools, Kamiluiki, Koko Head, and Hahaoni, and they're in the process of having their fun fairs. And of course, we provide manpower for all those. And they're also at Kaiser High School, our high school. They're starting to collect funds for project
You
graduation.
have a son going there to
I do.
Kaiser?
And anyway, so we'll be donating again to project graduation at Kaiser. And we don't have a middle school. The middle school is taken care of by another Lions Club, not our club.
How many members do you have currently in Hawaii Kai Lions?
Almost 60.
And you take on all these projects, raise the funds, do everything, as well as the manpower.
That's right. And we work closely with the other clubs in our district too. The Koko Head Lions, the Diamond Head Lions, the Kaimuki Lions, they also work with the Hawaii Kai Lions very closely to get a lot of these projects done.
Well, that's good. You know, I congratulate you, as I said at the beginning. There are so many things that are done in our community, and other communities as well, but in our community where people come forward, they step forward, and they have an idea, or they have something that they can contribute, and it really helps, because government can't be everywhere. And as smart as we are in this building, and you know how smart we are, we can't think of everything. So the fact that you folks have stepped forward on this, I think is really to be congratulated. And so if people want to get involved specifically in this project with you, Rick, what's the best way of contacting you, or what should they do?
Probably contact the Rescue Tube Foundation. I think there's a slide will come up with their contact information, but they have a website.
Okay.
And just send them information, and they'll, you know, what area they live in, and the Rescue Tube Foundation will they're kind of the main hub.
Yeah.
So they know who's in what areas and who's doing what. And if you're in East Oahu, they would refer you to me, and kind of go from there. Just trying not to get a lot of different people starting the same project from 15 different places. So I think the keeping it centered around the Rescue Tube Foundation without overwhelming him. I mean, it isn't like a 50-man team. It's this one guy,
Yeah.
Branch Lotspeets, and he gets a lot of credit for all of this. Him and a guy named Monty Downs, the two of them, Dr. Monty Downs, they kind of really got it going in the very beginning, but they're working very hard at it, and but they would be the contact.
Okay. Bill, do you have any final words for our audience?
I'm absolutely convinced that this can work. I mean, it works on Kauai. The only thing is we have to take this no-brainer and get these things set up on the beaches and on the shores, and we'll save some people's lives.
Well, hopefully we'll be seeing a lot of them on the beaches real soon. And I want to thank Dr. Bill Modglin and Erick Kvick. Thank you so much, and we wish you the best of luck in this project and all the things that the Hawaii Kai Lions do. And if we can be of any help, we'll be glad to do it. So thank you both.
Thank you very much for having us.
And there you see yet another example, as I say, of people in the community doing things themselves. If you have any ideas or any suggestions of projects that you would like to see or issues that you would like us to discuss or tackle or guests, please give me a call. Come down to the state capitol. Talk to us. We'll be very happy to try and do this because we want to put a spotlight on the good things in Hawaii and the good people. And we're very blessed because we do have so many people that have taken leadership upon themselves, and they've done all of these things. Why? Why? To help Hawaii, to make it a better day. Thank you for joining us. You have a wonderful day, and we'll talk to you soon. Aloha.